Hey, what's up? It's Sean Baligian.
What up? This is Joique here on the Baligian and Bell Show.
Make sure you check us out on the Woodward Sports Network. Hey, what is up? It's Friday. We made it after a crazy, wacky, zany week in so many different ways. He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. What are we calling Friday?
We usually call it Freestyle Friday.
All right, Freestyle Friday. Let's go.
So we'll freestyle it today.
Let's go.
We'll freestyle it.
Now, you know what? So much to do, and is often is the case when you do a show like this. One of the things that we wanted to talk about, we are, of course, Woodward Sports, and we broadcast from the headquarters of Lady Jane's, Haircuts for Men. Speaking of haircuts, cheesy broadcasting business segue, Jimmy Harbaugh got himself a haircut yesterday from the University of Michigan. He got himself a haircut. Basically, the money cut in half. Now, with incentives, Jim Harbaugh can still, make, in essence, what he was making before. But it's a haircut, and if you are a perception person, I don't think the perception looks good for Jim Harbaugh. I don't think the perception looks good for Michigan. The buyout is manageable. Do you know what? This is just one man's perception, and you guys can tell me if you agree or disagree. Joique, most importantly, you first and foremost. Do you know what my perception is here?
What is it?
Well, we're just going to settle for each other for the time being. That was my perception from this story. Because you're not. He took a pay cut. It's kind of common knowledge that there was some flirtation with the NFL. Nothing came up. So this is a situation where Jim said, "You're here, I'm here." Michigan said, "You're here, we're here." And they said, let's get it going. It's not exactly a wonderful look, because you know as well as I do, especially in your world, Joique, when somebody gives you that haircut, that's a perception thing. Yeah. When you got to take that cut, that's a perception thing. Is it warranted? 1,000%. I don't care if you're the biggest Michigan fan in the world. What he was given, what was expected of his tenure so far, it hasn't lived up to expectations. But perception is everything. It really is.
It is.
And we got some news coming down as well.
Yeah, some big news.
Yeah, just came down. I'm looking for it myself. Corey with a K.
Yeah, and the Mike McDonald. So the linebacker coach from the Ravens is speculated that he'll be the DC for Michigan now. And I think that'll make I think they need to make changes there. I think they've been pretty bad defensively on U of M team. So I think this is a good move to make, because I don't think he can continue on the way it's been going with his staff he had before, because it wasn't working.
No question.
Like you said, when you take that haircut, or you have to take your haircut, I think that plays into effect. So I think him making this move with Mike McDonald, the linebacker coach from the Ravens, I think that will help I think it's moving in the right direction, at least looking in other directions now, because what was happening before wasn't working.
Yeah. I'm going to say this again. Jim Harbaugh is a good football coach. I firmly believe that. And I think his record over the year speaks to that. People forget his success in the National Football League.
Yeah.
And Joique, that's why so many guys are intrigued about seeing him go back to the National Football League. In college, his best season was at Stanford. They finished number 4 in the nation. They didn't win the Pac that year, but he had Andrew Luck, and a lot of people are going to say, well, it's because he had Andrew Luck. But let's think about all the things that were said now almost 6 years ago when Jim Harbaugh came on board. He was hired to win the Big Ten. He's the quarterback whisperer. His recruiting classes are going to be all that. He's going to recruit with the best in the nation. And I'm going to echo what you said. It hasn't worked. Up until last year, I thought, and I'm serious, I know you're waiting for me to attack Michigan. I got a job to do. I have to look at things realistically, okay? Did a damn good job. It wasn't great. That was the problem. You know, he had really good seasons. He had a few really good teams. It wasn't great. It wasn't winning the Big Ten. It wasn't winning the division. No. It wasn't beating Ohio State. If anything, and this isn't a Michigan problem, this is the Big Ten problem. Ohio State's just gone like this. Right. I don't think it's a case of teams going like this. I think it's Ohio State going like this. Yeah. You know, everybody better get their shop in order because Ohio State's going to keep running everybody, man.
They running it. They are running it. Why is that, though? I think that Harbaugh has one of the best recruiting tactics than any other coach, and I mean as well as any other coach in the NCAA, if not better. He is strategic with the way he recruits, and he really winds and dines his players when trying to get them to come to, you kind of have to, stay within the bylaws, but still he does a great job of going out trying to recruit players. And I don't know why they don't want to come to U of M. Like, I mean, the 5 players want to come here, but those 5-star recruits.
Yeah.
Right.
It has everything. Larry Polk said, "Good morning, brothers." Steve said he took a team to the Super Bowl. No question. He had success in the NFL. I mean, you can't deny that.
It's different coaching, though, right? You go to the NFL, you're coaching men, right? And then you go to college level and you're coaching young men, and you have to mold them, you have to mentor them. And sometimes you do that in the NFL too, but not as much. You have a group of, 100 so players, 90 plus players on the team that you have to manage, right? You have to mentor them. And you go to NFL, you have a smaller roster. You have people who take more of accountability of their actions and their studying and things of that nature. But when you get to the college level, it's totally different. So I was lucky enough to play in both, and I noticed the difference as a player from players in college to players in the NFL. Totally.
Yeah, it's so strange because, I think of like all the success your college coach had, Paul Winters. Mm-hmm. How would Paul Winters translate to the NFL? And I think that's what a lot of teams out there kind of have that mentality. I say it all the time. I remember back in the day, people thought that Jimmy Johnson was going to fall flat on his face. I mean, Jimmy Johnson ended up being a tremendous coach in the National Football League and a great, talent evaluator, which really helped. I mean, when you look at those Cowboys teams of the early 90s, man, that was his fingerprint all over that. He knew, I want this guy, I want that guy and everything. So, for some guys it worked. I mean, conversely, look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban is probably the greatest college coach ever. Like seriously, I think when all is said and done, we got to have that conversation, and Nick Saban's name has to be in that conversation. Mm-hmm. But in the NFL, it didn't work. I mean, Steve Spurrier is another one. Steve Spurrier was a tremendous coach, the old ball coach. Yeah. Didn't work in the NFL.
How many college coaches made it to the NFL and were successful head coaches? It's a few. It's a few. I mean, Pete Carroll.
Yeah, you have to give some credit.
Yeah,
Pete Carroll. To give some credit.
Give or take, because I know he spent some time with the Patriots, right? And then went to college, coached in college, was successful in college, and they came back to the NFL and was successful in the NFL. And so he's one of the few guys who were able to make that transition and be successful.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Almost immediately.
Couple comments. Steve said, unpopular opinion as a Michigan fan, but I'm glad to see him back. I don't know. Maybe we can talk to Michigan fans. If you're a Michigan fan and you want to chime in, I'd love to hear from you guys. How do you guys feel about this? And of course, kind of the breaking news that Corey with a K just told us he's poaching his brother's team. Of course, he's looking at the Baltimore Ravens and saying we're gonna tap their linebacking coach, and that's gonna be our new DC. It was, to put it mildly, it was a disaster with Don Brown. I'm sorry, I've said this for years. Anybody that's listened to me, the whole Don Brown defense was so overrated because if you look at his tenure, okay, they feasted on less than teams. They feasted on teams that struggled offensively. But when the opportunity came against a good team with a good offense, Michigan's defense got lit up a few times. So I thought that there was a little bit too much hype about the whole Dr. Blitz, Don Brown defense thing. And I think facts would prove me out the last few years. Boy, oh boy. Kenny said Harbaugh can't win big games. If you can help me out, I think Scott had a really good point. Kennedy, if I can get back to his comment, he said that good is the enemy of great. And I think maybe there are a lot of Michigan fans, Joique, that kind of feel that way right now, where good isn't good enough. I mean, listen, it's the whole routine, right? Expectations are going to change. When you think about where Michigan was at before Coach Harbaugh came in, okay, you had the disaster that was the Rich Rod era. Then you had all the hope and promise of Brady Hoke, in particular that first year where they had so much success. You know, still didn't beat Ohio State, still didn't beat Michigan State, but everybody thought, all right, it's coming up. And then it just started to go like this again. At least with Jim Harbaugh, you've been more consistent up here.
Right.
You just haven't been able to do that.
You're right, you haven't. And he's in this situation where we talked about yesterday. He's not in the Hall of Fame, and he's in the Hall of Good. And for a university and an institution as prestige as University of Michigan, you can't be in the Hall of Good for too long, right? But he's liked and loved so much from the community, and I think he's a great coach that we don't want to get rid of you. We don't want to part ways. We don't want to sever this relationship. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you this haircut. Which is almost, I think, half, and I don't think the specifics. I'm speculating here, but I think it's cut down to half.
It's about half.
It's about half.
About half.
But it has incentives to get him back to $8 million, which I think is fair considering how his tenure has gone here since he's been here. And sometimes as a coach, as a player, sometimes it can be a gut check too. But at the same time, he understands that this is a business. He loves the university. He loves the area. He's built a relationship there. He's already had a relationship there. And so I think it's important that we take into consideration that Michigan didn't just say, you know what, we're paying you this, you don't have opportunity to make it back. But they gave him incentives, kind of like a player's contract.
Sure.
You know, we're going to sign you for this, but, you know, if you hit this mark, you hit 1,000 yards, you get this. You hit 1,500 yards, you get this. You score this many touchdowns, you get this. You have certain incentives in there, right, to get you up another 200, another 500,000, and $1 million if you reach a certain mark. And so I think what Michigan did was a smart business move. I don't think
I agree with you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I don't think they need to get rid of him because he's been good and he just has to get over that hump. It might be a couple pieces to the puzzle, and with him adding on Mike McDonald, that might be a piece of the puzzle that can help him get closer to being over that hump.
I think right now you hit the nail on top of the head, regardless of perception. Let's take perception out of it for a second. You can't. I get that. It is what it is. It's going to come across as a haircut. What else were you supposed to do at this point in time? You have a proven commodity. You have a proven commodity, unfortunately, that is proven to be, a 9-10 win coach. This past year notwithstanding, they would have been a 9-10 loss team this year. That's how disastrous this team was. But at this juncture, when you're talking about the first week of January, where else are you going to go? What else are you going to do? And maybe this is a case where Jim Harbaugh knew, okay, my phone isn't ringing the way I thought it might be ringing with the NFL come knocking. This is where I'm going to speculate. I don't know if he took any phone calls. I don't know if there was any seriousness or serious talks with any NFL teams. But this is where, okay, I'm not getting the offer that I like. What else are you guys going to do? Let's get together. And it's interesting, a couple points Brian said as an MSU fan. I'm thrilled to see Harbaugh back at Michigan. Ohio State football on Twitter last night was trolling. They liked a couple posts that talked about, breaking news, Harbaugh going to re-up, and Ohio State was liking the post and all that stuff. So that Buckeye going to Buckeye. That's the way it was.
You know what though? That right there will be a big circle on my calendar.
Sure.
That would be
I'm still interested to see if Ryan Day is intent on putting up 100 on Michigan. Remember he said that last year, the whole thing in the summertime where he said we're gonna put 100 up on you. That reminds me of when I was a kid, Barry Switzer, half 100. We're gonna hang half 100 on you. I mean that's what he told teams back in the day when he was at Oklahoma. We're gonna hang half 100 on you. Okay. Sound good. Steve said Michigan was headed into the ground before Harbaugh. Do you know what this reminds me of, Joique? This reminds me of the conversation that you and I have had about the Lions, and I say this for years. Expectations change, both good and bad, okay?
Right.
And what I mean by that is, and I'll use your former coach as an example, okay? Coach Caldwell was better than other eras. He was better than other eras. You have to give him his due. He averaged.
He set the record.
Yeah. Period. End of story.
He tied the record for most wins in Lions history with 4 years of being here, and then he was let go.
Yep. You have to give him his due. I mean, period. End of story. Yeah. But, and this is where I come in, 9-7 isn't good enough. Just getting into the playoffs and losing, whether it be to Dallas, whether it be to Seattle, it's not good enough. As a human being, as a sports fan, we want more than that. And Joique, we have this conversation so often. Both things can be true. Jim Caldwell was the best coach the Lions had. Period. End of story. Okay?
And I see where you're going with it.
And if we want to debate, was it justified firing him, we can have that conversation. But at the same time, I would hope that every human out there would agree 9-7 and losing in the playoffs isn't good enough. Both things are true here.
I hear what you're saying, but if you came to an organization where, if you come to an organization with a drought like the Lions, and you're able to come in, you have success, and you're heading in the right direction, and you're coming off a losing season, and you take a team to the playoffs, I don't see any justification in letting a guy like that go when he's taking a team where he's lost probably one of the best players in the NFL, and then coming back after that and then going to the playoffs in 2016. I don't see any justification in that.
You know, it's interesting because in what happens is your expectations get changed, right? I mean,
I guess your vision of whoever's over that is whatever your vision may be. And when you come in as a GM or as a head coach, sometimes you have a vision, and sometimes you get rid of good players the same way GMs can get rid of good coaches, right? And I think Coach Caldwell was not a good, but I think he was a great coach. Seeing what he had on that team and being able to take that team to the playoffs.
I will tell you this, I have a greater appreciation for Jim Caldwell for sure after watching Matt Patricia's teams the last couple of years. And I'm not talking just on the field either. I mean, I'm sorry, you lived it. I can talk about it, you lived it. Culture's something important, man.
Yeah,
and you got to keep those vets happy in that room. Yeah. That was a very discontented room, to put it mildly.
When you look at a team, Sean Payton told the whole team this when I was going into my second year, and I noticed it once I started going around to different teams, right? That I noticed that every NFL team with a good head coach, that team will kind of mimic that head coach. So if you have a team with a hot-headed coach, they might get more penalties. They might play a little bit. They might not be as disciplined. You get a coach like Coach Caldwell, you see we're not getting as many personal fouls or as many penalties as we were in the past. If you just look at historically, it's statistics, and it's just my perception of me being in it and seeing it.
Sure.
Going to different teams. When I was in Philly, we had Andy Reid. We went to the playoffs. It was a good team, very disciplined. I was with Buffalo with Chan Gailey. His first year coming out from Georgia Tech and coming to Buffalo. We didn't make the playoffs. Not saying he was a bad coach, but we didn't make the playoffs. Who else was it? The Colts. We had Coach Caldwell there. Mm-hmm. We had Coach Caldwell there, but that was more of a Peyton Manning team. But even though they still went to the playoffs. And so I think when you look at head coaches, it's far in between where you can get rid of a good coach and go out and find another good coach for a team, a good situation. I think some coaches can be more successful on other teams than what they can be on other teams. So I don't think we should have let him go, at least not that soon. I would give him another year.
You know what's interesting about this, and it's funny, Scott brought up a point. He said, I don't blame Ohio State for trolling Michigan at all. I used to do the same thing about John Cooper. I used to have conversations, you know, when he was in here yesterday. One of my favorite guys in the business is Ryan Ermani. I love Ryan Ermani from Fox 2. And we work together at Fox 2, and we work together on the radio. And if you don't know this about Ryan Ermani is 100% maize and blue. If you cut that man's arm, maize and blue blood will come out. He loves him some Michigan. And I can openly admit this. I used to twist the knife a little bit with him. Forget a little bit. I used to twist the knife with him a lot of bit. And the one thing that would drive
How so?
him, well, I would always say this. This is the line that used to drive him crazy. I would also say, why do we talk so much about an also-ran around here? Why do we do that? You could see the steam come out of his ears, and he would blow up. And finally, one time, he blew up at me, and he said, "How can you call Michigan an also-ran? What the heck? Do you know its history?" And I go, Ryan, if you don't like being called an also-ran, stop being an also-ran. And it was funny. He was like, I hate you, because it's like at that point in time, you can't say anything, and I that's why. And you know what? If anything, and I mean this, okay, it's respect, because Michigan rolled Ohio State so many times, rolled Michigan State, you know, forever. I mean, that was our lifetime. Yeah. And so now that you see Michigan being the team that has some good years but falls just short, it's culture shock for all of us. Right. I mean that. It is. It's culture shock for Ohio State fans. It's culture shock in a big way for Michigan State fans. And most importantly, it's culture shock for Michigan fans. So I go back to, and well, you know, I respect somebody's opinion. If this is what you want Michigan to be, you know, 9-10 wins every year, I'm going to do my best to forget about the past season where they were a disaster. If that's what you want Michigan to be, I can't tell you you're wrong. And I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. But I will remind you, when Jim Harbaugh was trumpeted in back in 2015, nobody was talking about 9 and 10 win seasons. Everything that came out of your pie holes was Big Ten champions, beat Ohio State, beat Michigan State, win the division, Big Ten champion, college football playoff, national champions. That's all we heard. Mm-hmm. So what's happened since then is you've seen a lot of people kind of dumb down the expectations. You know?
Can't dumb it down. You can't dumb it down. All right. You know, but, you know, sometimes when you don't have success, you have that around. But, you know, that never changes in the locker room, in the front office. It doesn't dummy down there, right? Mm-hmm. It dummy, like the people, the fans, we dummy it down, right? As fans, we do. Oh, okay. If we can just beat Ohio State, you know, we have. My son goes to St. Joe High School, and their big rivalry game is Lakeshore every year. If they lose every game of the season, but they beat Lakeshore, then they have a good season. Yeah, they're happy with that. They're happy, right? And you know, as a fan perspective. But as players, we want to win as many games as we can. And when I played, I wanted to beat Green Bay. That was my, you know, you got to think when in the 80s where you hated them, Lions couldn't beat them. We couldn't beat them then. But when I was here, we beat Chicago, you know, often.
Yeah,
we beat Chicago
semi-regular,
often.
Sure.
Yeah, often. So for me, that wasn't a rivalry.
Yeah.
It was Green Bay.
Respect.
Was my rivalry.
Absolutely.
Right. And so for me, it was like I don't want to lose a game, but I definitely don't want to lose against Green Bay.
Yeah, no, I get that.
That's me. I can't do it.
Well, it's funny. I've had this argument, and maybe there's some Spartan fans out there. I've had this argument with Spartan fans for 10 years that kind of take the same tack that you do. That you know you were just talking about with St. Joe. They were like, "Well, you don't get the Michigan rivalry. It's all about beating Michigan." And I said, "Beating Michigan used to mean something. They're bigger fish to fry now. Michigan's not the ultimate goal now. Let's be perfectly blunt. Mm-hmm. Ohio State is and has been a long time. To me, I'm a bigger fish. Of course I want to beat Michigan. Everybody, just like they want to beat Michigan State. But at the end of the day, it's about bigger fish to fry. You know what? If you beat Ohio State, as they were able to do a couple times, one time in Indy and one time down in Columbus, chances are you're going to have a chance to play for a Big Ten championship and have a chance to either go to the Rose Bowl or go to the playoff. that to me, that should be the goal. Like, screw Michigan. It doesn't mean as much as it did before. You know what I'm saying?
I got something equally as important to say. Good morning, Grammy Whammy.
Hi, Grammy Whammy.
Hey, Grammy.
That's the most important thing.
The most important thing. Most important thing. She texted me yesterday. She said, "Will you feel more comfortable if I just didn't watch the show?" I said, "Grandma, you can watch the show."
I love it. Absolutely. Grammy Whammy. You know what? And that way, we know if there's some mean that seeps in, Grammy Whammy's going to be there. You're going to listen to Grammy Whammy.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to Grammy Whammy. Shaking his head.
Yes.
Yeah, he hasn't been active this entire segment. Now he want to chime in. Hey, sit back and work the computers. Yeah.
I told Art before the show started. By the way, you've seen Captain America, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He kind of looked like Captain America before the shot.
Thank you. That's
literally what Baligian said.
Literally, he's Steve Rogers before the shot, and this is where I got so much respect for him because remember, he's getting his butt whooped, and this guy's going, "How much more can this guy take?" And he just keeps getting up and going, "I can keep doing this all day." And that's Art. Art just keeps getting up saying, "I can keep doing this all day."
All day, huh?
So bad respect. Just don't give him the shot because I think there might be some hell to pay around here. Art's going to start whooping some ass.
Yeah, man. He got to go get a couple of HGH shots. Go do something. You need to start working out.
Well, it'll be, I'm going to be interested to see what people think about this. I am somebody that I tried to take the temperature of the room a little bit on Twitter last night. And it seemed like, just one man's opinion, it seemed like a lot of Michigan fans kind of took the approach to it with Jim Harbaugh. I can understand that because the first 5 years have not been what you expected, has not been what you sold. And I'm going to say it again. I think there are some people in town, some media members that wrote some checks that have not been cash. And I think sometimes, unfortunately, people point the finger at Jim. Jim Harbaugh didn't write those checks, okay? He didn't say we're going to do this. He didn't say I'm the quarterback whisperer. He didn't say that Michigan's back or anything like that. I think a lot of time that's media-driven stuff, and I'm not going to point the finger at Jim Harbaugh for some of the wacky, zany stuff that has been written around here. And you know who you are. I'm not calling you out. I'm just being completely honest.
Call them out.
Well, they know who they are, Detroit News. But this is.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Did I? Oh no! Did I say?
Baligian sending shots.
But no, it's true. I mean, look, there are people that have been writing checks for Michigan for years, and I think
Detroit
sometimes
News follow me. They follow me on Instagram, I think.
But you know what? I think there are some people out there that point the finger. Well, Jim Harbaugh didn't call himself the quarterback whisperer.
He didn't.
That wasn't Jim Harbaugh.
Who was it?
You know, the one thing that I will say Jim Harbaugh is guilty of, he should have never done that stupid "Who's Got It Better Than Us" video. Never in a million years.
Why not?
Because you know what happens? Losers like me are going to go and post that clip every time, every single time. When they fail, we're waiting to post that.
You know
Ohio State is going to mock you.
You know what's funny about that?
What's that?
What did I tell you about me? They want to build you up just to watch you crash.
You got it. That's
all they want. Makes for a bigger story.
%.
A bigger story.
1,000%. So to me, it's like, why put that arrow on yourself? You already have people chirping that the band is back together. Michigan is back. National champion. Well, we might not win the Big Ten our first year, but we'll win it the second year, and there'll be multiple national champions. Well, what do you think people are going to say when they hear that? Are they going to go, well, I'm sorry it didn't work out. Maybe you'll be better next year, slugger. Hell no. You know what they're going to say? You're still an also-ran. I mean, that's just, it's life. It's reality.
It's an also-ran.
Yeah. It is. It's amazing how that works out. Steve said trolls like Sean.
Fucking troll.
Dude, I'm not trolling. That's
the freaking troll.
Part.
It's guys like Sean that makes my job hard as an NFL player.
I'm trolling. Tell me how I'm trolling.
Guys like that, right there.
Listen, all jokes aside.
It happened in the past. Let it go. Let it die.
No, do you know what I always say? This is my go-to line. And Steve, you've probably heard this before. It's not my fault. What did I do?
You didn't do anything.
Wait. Why? So why are you calling me the troll? I didn't.
Because you don't let people grow. People grow.
How long does it take to grow?
You know what? My son grew an inch overnight.
How long is puberty?
My son grew overnight. You know, he grew 2 inches overnight. Took his height the next morning. I was like, "How you overnight?"
Steve, you know I love you. I don't take that personally. Don't worry about it. Like he's laughing. No, but you know what? I've had that so many times, and I've talked to some Michigan fans over the years, and it's funny. They kind of get it after the fact. It's like you guys like stop, because you know what happens. There are people out there that are going to pull that video clip.
And that's the reason why Coach Caldwell will always tell us, when you win, say little. When you lose, say less.
So am I really a troll?
Huh?
Am I really a troll?
Yeah, because if we were to put something out there along those lines ever in the media clip or anything like that, you guys are going to hold on to that clip and bring it back when something negative happens. It's just, that's the media. That's what y'all do. And I'm not a fan.
I just speak factually.
You know what it is, though? It is what it is. It is what it is.
I've heard that line someplace before.
It is what it is. You guys are going to do what you guys have to do, but that's why we have to be cognizant.
No, you're absolutely right.
Of what we say and how we say it and when we say it.
You're absolutely right.
Like you said earlier, the way you word a question or answer a question.
It's a learning process.
It's a learning process.
I've screwed that up. I thought I was going to get my head taken off by Chris Spielman, quite frankly.
He should have took it off.
Jeez, Grammy whammy, have a talk with him. All right, listen, when we come back, some rumors about the Lions as well. Of course, Robert Saleh was in here. What do you think? I love Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is a heck of a quarterback. I feel sorry for that guy playing in that bleep hole of a franchise. I mean, Houston is a disaster. You want to talk about one guy literally bulldozing something that looked like it was on its way up. Bill O'Brien screwed that franchise for years to come. Deshaun Watson, there's some rumors out there. We'll get into it next. Glad you could join us. He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian.
Welcome to Grow Green, the green standard for garden supplies here in Michigan over the past 10 years. We offer the best gardening and lawn care products and have an extremely knowledgeable staff to help you create your dream garden or make your yard the envy of the neighborhood. Shop the store located in Whitmore Lake or online at growgreenmi.com. Delivery and curbside pickup available. Grow Green, making Michigan greener one grower at a time.
He's Joique Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. Glad you can join us wherever you are on Woodward Sports. I love what Steve said. Let's bring up old clips of Sean. Hey, listen, point blank, all jokes aside, I hope to God I'm the first guy that says I was wrong. All jokes aside, that's the way I've always tried to be in the media, and I hope if you followed me, whether it be TV or radio, I don't want to be the guy that I have to have Kennedy pointed out or Art pointed out or Joique pointed out. I want to say, hey, I missed. I want to say, I'll give you an example where I missed. I missed on Mark D'Antonio and the Michigan State Spartans in 2013. I thought at the beginning of the year when everybody thought they were the worst team ever, I thought, this is an 8-9 win team. I mean, they were. Come on, I threw that in there. I did troll a little bit there. I got to call myself out. I did troll a little bit. Joique, how are you this morning? You look great.
I'm great. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Better than ever.
Let's talk about the locker room a little bit. No, young Kennedy has done a fantastic job behind the scenes. She hasn't had a chance to come in with us much. We're going to talk a little bit about the Deshaun Watson situation, but we're going to get your recipe for the buffalo chicken dip in a little while as well. Like, what are you doing this weekend? Are you smoking something? Are you having a little get together for the playoffs? We'll get into that. But Joique, I wanted to ask you, when are you going back to school?
I'm going back to school tomorrow. Not to start school. I have sorority recruitment. Joique has sorority recruitment to do.
We're gonna miss you.
Only the best of the best.
No,
we're gonna miss her. She does such a great job.
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for Joique right now. Can I tell you why I feel sorry for Joique? Because the only person who he likes in this room is leaving. So I feel sorry for Joique.
No. I'm like Sean. No. Me and Sean are cool.
You okay?
Yeah, me and Sean are cool.
Did you see how he does it though? He can't be like,
cool.
oh no, I really like you, Art. It's a a buddy cop movie type style. You and me going back and forth. I didn't get the poker invite last night. This isn't about me. Get back to being a talent. Go ahead, Joique. Go ahead, Joique. I'm just here to press buttons, not for a friendship. Go.
Get back to being a talent.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Try so hard.
All right, so in case you missed it, Deshaun Watson. First of all, I want to get your take. You've watched Deshaun Watson for years.
I come here every day. Hold on, before you get started. I come here every day. I don't know why Art talks to me. I don't know why he speaks to me when I come
Stop
in.
making me turn my microphone on then.
You know what, though? We're going to miss you, Kennedy. I'm going to switch over to something positive. We're going to miss you. Good luck in school. You need any money whatsoever, make sure you give Sean a call, okay?
You can do that.
Yeah. Sean got you.
I'll call your dad. I'll immediately call your dad, and we'll take care of business.
Yeah, we'll send you a brisket in the mail. Overnight it to you. Overnight it to you.
All right, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You've seen him. What's your take on Deshaun Watson?
He's a very good quarterback. Definitely a franchise quarterback. They made a good thing by keeping him on the team, but they need to put pieces around him. Point blank period. He needs pieces. And so for them to offer him what they offered him, I'm not talking about money, like somewhat of team control. That's a lot of responsibility on a player to be able to study the game, make sure that you're prepared mentally and physically, and then also be in charge of who you bring in, having some say-so on the players that they bring in. Was it coaches as well? Mm-hmm. That's a big responsibility. But I think a quarterback like him deserves. He's earned that right now.
No, and you know what? To me, I'm a big fan. We've talked about this before. Joique, if I tell you I'm going to do something, then gosh darn it, I'm going to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you say, hey, man, I need to bring over some ribs, a brisket, can you smoke this for me? And I say, yeah, I'm incumbent upon fulfilling that. I'm sorry. Right. That's the way I am. Right. And I think that's the way professionals and men want to be treated. You give me that point right now.
I'll give you that point because my sister's still upset with you for not bringing that brisket over. My sister's still upset.
You come over. You bring it over. I need the piece of meat. I do. I can't make magic in my smoker.
Okay.
Unless I have that piece of meat.
All right,
so you let me know.
Ambi, if you're watching, you already said.
Come over.
Go to the butcher.
Seriously, I'll give you
We're going to go
address.
to the butcher. We're going to grab what we want. We're going to take it over to Sean. And Sean's going to take good care of us.
Drive over. And you just give me a heads up so I can fire up my smoker. Let me know how much it weighs. And then I can kind of, at least generalize in my mind about the rough. Because I told you, and you heard Rob Sims say it, it isn't so much about the time as much as it is about the temperature. You kind of get the idea to be around 10 hours, right? But
what's 10 hours? What's the proper weight for 10 hours? Like what? 5 pounds?
If it's a big one, then I'm going to put my smoker at 250. If it's a big one. We're talking smoking with Deshaun Watson right now.
Yeah, we're talking smoking.
If it's a big one, then I'm going to put my smoker at 250, right? That's where I'm going. If it's a smaller one, then I can do a little bit of the low and slow, where I can turn that temperature down and then let that low heat and moisture really break down the collagens, and it can happen quicker. Okay. All right, so how many people, let's say your sister, she's watching right now. How many people is she cooking for? Let's
say 5.
Okay, 5 people. I could get it done a lot quicker than that. Mm-hmm. I could get it done a lot quicker than that.
10 people?
You might be looking closer to 10 hours.
Okay.
For me, like, for example, I'm putting something on tonight that I'm going to have tomorrow afternoon. And a pulled pork is different. Pulled pork it might take me 15, 16 hours. It might, like I'm going to bed tonight. I'm filling up my hopper. It might take me 15, 16 hours. But if I put it on at 8, I could have it done around the time the games start tomorrow, around that time. But you never know exactly,
It's funny that Sean has never once said that he would cook meat for me. I mean, I'm not Joique Bell, but, it's okay. It's all right.
Did he ask you, though? Did he ask you?
Art, you come over to my house
anytime. Did he ask you? Did he ask
anytime.
you? Did he ask you though?
He never did.
Okay, then that's why he didn't offer. I asked.
So you have to ask?
Yeah, I have to ask.
It's like begging for permission?
No, I just ask.
Okay.
Keith is a big barbecue guy. He said $185 an hour per pound. You could on a smaller one you could get away with that.
Yeah, get away
the
with
bigger
that.
one, to me, what I've found is you got to crank up the heat a little bit.
All right, let's get back to the
All right,
side
so
watch.
listen.
All right, let's go back.
You are Joique Bell. Rod Wood
Yes.
tells Joique Bell, the franchise guy, Joique, we want you to be involved in the GM and coach hiring process. You mean a lot to this franchise. You need to be a part of this. We want to tap your brain.
All right, that would be Calvin Johnson or Matthew Stafford.
Yes,
or,
right?
Or they'll be one of those guys. But if it was me, I would have to sit down and think long and heavy on that, because honestly, basically what you become the LeBron James of football, as far as being able to have that, I guess that power to be able to build a team around you. What would you like? What do you want? What guys are you looking at? Because that means you have to watch film on guys that you like, right? And you have to go out. You basically becoming like a scout, so to speak, and that's a lot of pressure on the player. Now, if it's a thing where these are the guys that we're looking at, how about you take a look at them? What are you thinking? If you have people that you might have played against that are coming up that you think in a free agency or coming out from college, who do you like? And that's forcing him to be more in tune to like what's going on in college versus what's going on in just the NFL. And this is my job, this is my responsibility right now, and it went from right here and now you're up here, all right? And if that's the case, then I mean they paid him they paid the man, but I'm saying they might have to pay him a little bit more.
You know what's interesting about this to me as well, Joique, is, I mean, you can speak to this better. You guys know who guys are. You know if
We know
there's
who guys are.
whether it be a player, even some of the coaches on the other team. It was funny. I forget the context in which you said it, but you brought up something the other day, and when I was like going through the show today in my head, I was like, you guys know if there's a defensive coordinator that's throwing in some mixes. I think you said against Green Bay, right? Where you brought up the story, you were like, they mix things up, and
They two-gap. No, they two-gap scheme.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
what they two-gap scheme. Basically, they just defensively the D-line would just hold up the O lineman right in the middle, and they'll wait till the last second to kind of shed off into a certain gap based off the decision that the running back makes on the run, right? And so I used to hate when they do that. I used to like for them to just hit a gap, and just fill a gap, and I'm able to read them in my old lineman and be able to make a move. Some coaches, they coach differently. Some coaches say you read the linebackers when you run. When the linebackers do this, you go to this hole. Some of them make you read the D line. Like when the D line makes this move, this is your first read. Then you go to the linebackers, and just. You have different running back coaches who have different philosophies. And
so with that being said, you might come away from that game going, damn, I respect what that linebacker coach at Green Bay does, or wherever the case may be, right? So you guys know who the hot names are and who is getting work done and doing things differently. Fair statement?
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair.
That's why I think it's important.
And for him, it'll be more so, what games did I throw the least passes?
Exactly.
Which games, and these are the type of people we need to bring here to this organization.
Yep. And, well, in case you didn't know this story, Deshaun Watson was told by the owner he would be involved in the GM. He would be involved in the coach hiring process. He was not involved in the hiring of the guy who eventually was hired to be the GM. Deshaun Watson has not spoken to the Texans in days. They've reached out to him. He's not talked to him. Joique, this is where the question comes in for you in the regard that, all right, you got the double whammy going on right now. You have a guy who's frustrated because you made one of the worst trades in the history of the NFL. getting away the guy who you could say is the best wide receiver in the National Football League, okay?
Right.
A guy that made just a whole bunch of bad moves. You broom him out. All of a sudden, you have a talent-depleted roster. Oh, by the way, they promised you would be part of this process, and you're now not part of this process. Can this be fixed, or would this be in the best interest of the franchise and the player to just move on?
I think that's going to be up to the owner and the people he have running the team. And now I don't know his capacity as far as him running his team. Mm-hmm. If he hires a GM and a president to kind of run the team, they kind of sit back and they let them do their jobs.
Sure.
Or if they're heavily involved in the process of bringing in players, bringing in coaches, bringing in new presidents of the team. So when I told you that when they offered him that to sit back, and like you said, it's a double whammy. It's a losing season. I don't want to talk right now. I need time to myself. He played well this year. He didn't have enough pieces, but yet you guys offer me this now. I should have been offered this. I should have been offered this when you guys gave me that contract.
You're here.
This should have been included in the contract. He needs some time to cool off, and he's probably went through this season upset, but he finished the season as a professional and probably kept his emotions out of it. But now he can sit back and really evaluate and see what he wants to do.
Scott wanted to ask you a question. He said, as an offensive guy, do you find it easier to judge offensive talent because you know what they are trying to do, or defensive talent because of how they keep you from doing what you want to do?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah?
It's a little bit of both. More so for, like, a good receiver, a good DB, mm-hmm. right? And receivers respect certain DBs, and DBs respect certain receivers. And so for me, I respect some linebackers, and some linebackers respected me. I respected guys like, even guys on my team I played with. Like I told you, I respected DeAndre Levy. I respected Tulloch, T.R. Whitehead. And then, even though he did some dirty stuff, I respected Davis from Carolina. I respected him. He was a good player. He fought through a lot of things. I respected Kuechly, all those guys. I'll probably say the best linebacker I played against. That's tough. I had to sit back and think about that one. Really
How good was Clay?
Clay was
aside
really,
from yanking your hair.
Yeah, but Clay's one of those guys. Like he's up there as well. I respected him as well. But you have a lot of guys. Urlacher. I mean, I played against Urlacher on the tail end of his career. I mean, so I can't give it to Clay, and I played against Urlacher too. So it's like I played against some good linebackers. I remember we were playing Chicago, and this is my first time playing Chicago at Chicago, and this is 2012. And I remember we were like on the 2 or 3 yard line, and they had me in the game, and I was hyped. It was a night game too. And Stafford came to the huddle, and on his way back to the huddle, he looked at me and said, "Get this B in the end zone." He said, "Get in the end zone on this play." That's what he said. And at this time, like, this is my first game, I'm getting in the end zone.
Sir, yes, sir.
Sir, yes, sir. So he calls the play, it's a run right up the middle, and I go and I dive over the top of the pile, and I dive from like the 4 yard line, and I'm reaching for the end zone. I'm probably like, this is the line, and I have the ball extended to about right here, and I'm trying to like just get it in there, just cross the line, and Urlacher just comes and just smacks me, ball out on the goal line. Broke my heart. Look. Broke my heart. And I knew better. I knew once I got held up in the air and to bring it back in.
Yeah.
But I had that get in the end zone in my head. And and I was a young player.
Did they recover?
They recovered it. They recovered it. That's when I learned my lesson. And at that point, I don't think I've ever fumbled again reaching for the end zone. If I'm reaching, I know I can get it.
Yeah.
Right. And so the only time that I would reach where I would just leave it out there, if it's a 4th down, and it doesn't matter if I get it. It doesn't matter. All right. That's the only time. But any other time, I'm putting it out. If I can't get in, it's coming back in. So, yeah.
Couple comments about Deshaun Watson. Kenny said if you pair Watson with Bieniemy, that's a team that can get somewhere. You got a great point. Bieniemy with a young, still explosive quarterback that has a bright future ahead of him.
I want him here. I mean, if anything.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what. You could have something special. Here it is. Steve said if the Lions are moving on from Stafford, ... I'll tell you point blank, and you know where I stand on Matthew Stafford. I like Matthew Stafford. I say it again. In a perfect world, I wish Matthew Stafford would stay here for at least a couple more years. If you're giving me the option today in 2021 of that guy or Matthew Stafford, I take that guy all day. All day. I have no problem saying that. No disrespect. Matthew Stafford has a lot of mileage out there. I still think he's got football in him, but even with his knee injury at his age, with the upside that I still think is there in a Deshaun Watson, and that's not an either or. I'm not saying that they're going to flip-flop contracts or anything like that. No, but I still think he's got his best years ahead of him. I don't think there's any debate. That doesn't mean that there aren't good years coming yet for Matthew Stafford. I still think there's tread on the tire. I do. Yeah. I still think there's tread on the tire. But this is a situation where, I mean, if you put it like that, Steven, I think you'd be an idiot not to say Deshaun Watson at his age and with the lack of wear and tear.
And the ability that he has.
Yep.
I mean, some of the plays he make when he has to make plays with his legs, even get outside the pocket to make a pass is extraordinary. And so I think he's a very good player. And like you said, his best years are still ahead of him.
Scott, tell me what DC and JLC are. Reports are that Stafford is open to moving to another team that could be a contender. I told you, we talked about this a month ago when we first started. That was going to be the $1 million question. How much more of this does Matthew Stafford want to take? Now, I don't know if that's true, but how much more of this does he want to take? He has given his life. He has given part of his body to this franchise. I can't blame him for not having the stomach to want to be a part of another rebuild, if that's the case. This
is what it's going to be, and this is what Matthew Stafford has already been thinking about, that if he were to go to a different team, right, it'll be similar to the Tom Brady, finding a team that the only missing link was a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady was able to go to Tampa and was able to get them into the playoffs, right? So Stafford would have to find a team that their only missing link is a quarterback, or their only missing link is a quarterback and something that they're filling in this upcoming year, right? And so with that being said, if he leaves, I'm happy for him if, he gets what he needs. But I definitely appreciate him playing here. Appreciate him. So, like you said, he's a very good quarterback, just not great, and that's the issue here.
Scott, thank you for that information. He said reports out of Washington, D.C. and Jason La Canfora is that Stafford is open to moving to another team that could be a contender. We talked about that here for a month. That's something that you have to we have to be cognizant of that.
Yeah.
Now, it's not that easy. There are contract things that you have to worry about.
But honestly, that would be a good move for Stafford. That would be a good move for Nine. If Matthew Stafford is
I can't blame him at all.
If he was to go to Washington, D.C. and they were able to get the contract and things like that negotiated, get the trade off, that would be a good team for him to go to, because defensively they're doing great. I mean, they're playing playoff football on defense.
Somebody asked after your fumble, did Stafford come at you?
No.
Did your coaches come at you?
Yeah.
Did the head coach come at you?
No, the running back coach, but
who was it at the time? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, Sam Gash.
Okay, yeah.
Sam Gash. Yeah. And honestly, none of them came at me harder than what I came at myself. So
sure, absolutely.
So I was always my biggest critic, and I was also my biggest supporter as far as my confidence. Like, I didn't need any outside confidence or people to say you're a good player. Now it helped. Like, when I heard Mike Vick say, you just need a shot. Like, you're good. I watch you in practice. You're gonna be good. Now, when I heard Mike Vick say that, it just solidified or confirmed what I already felt. But in this league, you have to have confidence in yourself, because if you don't, nobody else will. And so
I think that's a great point. Anybody can tell you, Joique, you're going to get it done, okay? Yeah. But if Mike freaking Vick says it, I think it's going to ring a little more true than Sean Baligian patting him on the back going, Joique, I watched you the last year. I think you're superb.
It's not even just that, though, right? It's that a guy that you watched your entire life, your entire childhood of playing football, the guy that you admired and who showed you that he was one of the most prolific quarterbacks or he changed the game. Right? He changed the game literally. And so me watching him as a kid and then being able to make it to the NFL and then being able to be on the same team with him and then playing with him and seeing how he work in practice and see how he conducts himself and carries himself like in the locker room, for him to pull me to the side, and he doesn't talk much. He doesn't talk much, which is funny as a quarterback. Like, he doesn't really speak too often, but he knew my name, and he said, Joique Bell, he said, I watch you in practice. He said, you're going to be okay. You just need a shot. You remind me of like an Aaron Foster. You just need your shot. And when he said that, I was like, wow.
I love when you do the Mike Vick because he calls you Joique Bell. Not Joique, not Bell. You're Joique Bell.
He called me. I don't know why he called me, and I didn't hear him do anybody else like that. He just always called me my first and last name, which I don't know why. Because I remember when I came in my my rookie year, Drayton Florence. You remember him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
D-Flow. I was on Buffalo, and he was probably like a 7-8 year vet at the time. And I introduced myself to him. Like, what's up, I'm Joique. And like, what's up, I'm Joique. And he shook my hand. He said, listen, I'm not going to learn your name right now. This is during preseason. He's like, I'm not going to learn your name right now. He said, because we have too many people coming in and out. You might get cut tomorrow, so I'll learn your name for nothing. Make the team, then I'll learn your name. I said, dang, this is how we do it here in the NFL. Like, this is a wake-up call. I was always, so I ended up making the team. So he learned my name. No, not making the team. I ended up being on the team. So he knew my name. He finally, after the preseason cuts, I was on practice squad, so he learned my name. Then he came to Detroit. Oh, Drake, what's up? So it's funny that how some people think in the NFL, like, because I didn't figure out till later on, like, there are really a lot of guys coming in and out during training camp that you learn the name, and then tomorrow they might not be there.
Yeah.
Like, I learned the guy's name for nothing. He's not even here. So I kind of saw where he was going with it, but still, it was a wake-up call for me. Like, oh, this is really a business now. This is really a business.
It's real. It was funny overnight. I saw Kennedy put something out asking what people wanted to hear about. And for nerds like me, I'm so excited about the National Hockey League starting next year. And a lot of people said they want to hear a little something about the Red Wings. So we're going to definitely do that. Kennedy, I chuckled when I saw what you put on the planning sheet because you said entering the 5th season of the rebuild. And you are absolutely 100% right. But you know what the problem is? Here's the problem. The franchise refused to believe that they were in rebuild mode until Steve Yzerman basically came out and said it. They would not. It was living by the this is how we do it. We're going to change on the fly. We're going to be okay. And in my humble opinion, in the 3 years that they pretended it was business as usual, they took a situation that was going to be bad because the cap's going to catch everybody.
All right.
The cap is good. That's one undeniable truth in life. Is the cap is going to catch everybody. It may take a longer amount of time. See Tampa, but eventually it's going to catch you. And there was a good 3-year period where the Red Wings would not refuse that they forget about a retool, forget about a rebrand, put any cute little spin you want on it. They needed to rebuild. And so it's funny that you say that because I agree with you. Legitimately, this should be the 5th year of the rebuild. But because they didn't acknowledge that they were in desperate need of a rebuild, this is only now going to be, in essence, when you think that Steve Yzerman came in, for the 1920 season, this is legitimately really going into their third year, as far as I'm concerned, of a rebuild. Really, their second year. But already Steve Yzerman has done a lot of things that, if you follow what he did in Tampa, will look very, very familiar. This team is going to be more competitive this year. This team is going to be more entertaining to watch. I hate to say it, Joique, here we go again. This team isn't going to be good this year. But if we're to talk about the 4 teams in town, and I'm interested to hear your take, Joique, because you're bringing in well-respected veterans. You're bringing in a Stahl. You're bringing in – I've been a Bobby Ryan fan. I saw him in junior. He's phenomenal. The difference is, to me, when you look at the 4 teams in this town, okay, you have the Detroit Red Wings, who are here in regards to a rebuild. They really are. And I'm telling you, they're going to win a lot of hockey games in a couple of years. Mark my words. Not next year, a couple of years from now, okay? Right. You have the Detroit Tigers, who I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. I think Al Avila has gotten too much love. I don't see it. I don't get it. They're going to be better, but is it about getting better, or is it about really, really competing? And all of their prospects in the system, we can talk about prospects all we want, but until they show something, that's exactly what they are. They're just damn prospects.
No, my question is, it's a player's game, right?
Yep.
Do we have the talent to be competitors? And that's what you look at.
Competitive right now, yes. In my much more. I mean, they were historically bad last year.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
So in this regard,
they finished last, correct?
Yeah, I mean they were terrible. I mean, and their goal differential, Joique, was going to historic proportions. Do you know what it reminds me of, though? I think they're a couple years ahead of the Pistons. And you and I have talked about this. I'm going to compare what the Pistons are doing to what the Red Wings are doing, okay? The Pistons are kind of at that moment the Red Wings were at a couple years ago, where they're saying, all right, the way we operated wasn't working. It wasn't working. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to load up. We're going to try to get as much young talent as we can. We're going to try to get these high draft choices. We're going to suck again this year and probably next year as well and get another high draft choice. But there's a vision. And I think that's what Troy Weaver brought to the Detroit Pistons. Yeah. I stand by it. And if I'm wrong in 2 years, I'll be the first guy to say I was wrong. But Troy Weaver has a vision for what this team. And is flat out saying, look, he isn't saying it, but I think by the way they built this team, they're saying, we're going to grow. We're going to do this the right way. Steve Yzerman has done the same thing for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's where you go. And you have people who come in with their vision, who you trust in the area. And I don't think anyone's going to argue with the way Steve Yzerman is running his team. And the way that Troy Weaver is running his team, no one's complaining about that either, because we see the potential. We see people out there playing hard. We see scrappy players. We see Detroit-type culture in these teams now. And so you can go to these games and they can lose, right? They can lose, but you're not going home with your head like, another, you're going home like, just wait, be patient. Be patient.
Yep.
Right?
And
just be patient.
It's funny,
it's like,
because
I'm telling you right now, it's like investing in crypto and just sitting back and waiting.
Yep.
All right? Just sit back and wait. Let it work for you.
Do you think that it gets to a point, though?
Hold up, Art.
Oh, sorry.
So
sorry.
I think it's like, make sure you raise your hand so we can know you want to talk.
As he can't even see me, but I'll raise my hand.
But Sean can see you and Sean can acknowledge you.
I did, and Sean actually gave me a nod.
I called him. That was my bad. I thought you were done.
Okay. All right, now don't get on that list, Sean.
You know what Kenny said? And Art, I'll get to you in a second. Kenny said so much disrespect being thrown at the Wings right now. Do you know what my response to that is? Don't listen to me. Listen to Steve Yzerman. Listen to Steve Yzerman. Joique, I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. If you pay attention to what a coach or a GM is telling you, he'll give you the answers you're looking for.
True.
And Steve Yzerman said the day he was hired, April 19th, 2019, guys, this is going to take a while. We're going to take our lumps.
All right.
But we don't want to just become, golly gee, we got in the playoffs again. This is about championships.
Right.
So to me, you could call it disrespect. You know what I call it? Smart. I'm giving Steve Yzerman all the credit in the world.
All of it.
We're going to take our lumps. They're not going to be good again, okay? They aren't. But you know what? In a couple of years, this isn't going to be the Red Wings just getting into the playoffs and maybe winning a series. This is going to be the Red Wings are going to be near the top that so many of us grew up with. I firmly believe that. So again, it's not disrespect. That's the way things are right now.
It is. It's funny. So Steven said that all the teams in Detroit is rebuilding like Detroit. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say we're rebuilding like Detroit. I'll say we're restoring, right? And I kind of like that reference that Troy made when he said that, we're not rebuilding, we're restoring. And kind of like Detroit, we're not rebuilding, we're restoring our culture back. And so I'm excited about it.
Kenny, I'm sorry to misrepresent you, by the way. I'm going to apologize to Kenny. Kenny said, I'm talking more about the national media. We got rated the least wanted to watch teams. I apologize. You know what? That's okay. Because I'll tell you what, in 2 years, Red Wing fans are going to be laughing. The guy gets it. Look at what he did in Tampa. Look at his blueprint in Tampa. Now, they had some early success in Tampa that they didn't expect, but their starting point was greater because they had two pieces that any team would want to build around in Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman.
Let's not get into that right now. Let's say that for a second.
All right.
We have to go to this ad really quick, but come back and you're going to get more intake on the Red Wings, on the different teams. We're here with Sean Baligian. I'm Joique Bell. We'll be back in just a second.
We wake up every day with a choice. Keep going down the same unfulfilling path or start chasing the life we dream about. At Northwestern Tech, we want to make that choice easier by allowing you to keep working your job while training for a real career in heating and cooling. And our hands-on program is only 10.5 months. So getting in the field and building a career and actually waking up with a purpose could be a lot easier than you think. Northwestern Tech, the HVAC school that works.
And we're back here with Joique Bell and Sean Baligian. So Sean gets very excited because he always does the intro coming back in. But you know what? He's going to take a break. I'm going to start bringing us in now. But no, he was giving us some good insight on the Red Wings on their preseason so far. Oh, we'll get you rolling.
No, you know what? And it's funny because I know young Kennedy, as I am apt to call her, young Kennedy, you know this. Joique, think about this. You're taking over a crap team, and you get a wonderful 19-year-old player and a wonderful 18-year-old player to build your crap team. Okay? Well, the wonderful 19-year-old player and the wonderful 18-year-old player aren't going to dominate right away, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to take them a couple years. And then they're going to have a prolonged period of success if you build the right pieces around them. And that's exactly what Steve Yzerman did in Tampa. And they've had a prolonged period of success. They finally won the Stanley Cup last year after a lot of near misses. But it starts with, in the National Hockey League, having that talent. And they had Victor Hedman, a young Hedman, a young Stamkos. And when Steve took over here, they didn't have those young pieces. Now there are multiple pieces that it might not be a Hedman, it might not be a Stamkos, but really good players that you're going to build the nucleus around. Art, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to. I wanted to bring up the point that I feel like Wings fans are jaded. We went 25 times in a row, and I think that we as Detroit Red Wings fans always want that, and it's a rebuilding. My question is there a time limit on it? Like, you get the media that says, the Detroit Red Wings are basically trash and their most, unwatchable team. Do you think that Steve Yzerman sits back and says, you guys are doing a lot of hurry up and waiting, just keep waiting? Or when does it get to a point where it's like, it's been 7 years since we haven't made it to the playoffs? It's been 10 years since we haven't made it to the playoffs.
That's a great point. To me, Art, if we're having this same conversation in 2 years, there's a problem.
Right.
If I'm standing in front of you saying, be patient, it's coming, there's a problem. Because I think the one thing that this franchise is very, very guilty of, can we say this now without people getting mad at me?
Yes, you can.
This franchise.
We can say what we want to say on the show.
This franchise overrated their talent for many years. And I love Ken Holland. Ken Holland's a good man, okay? But I think when it started to come down, what they would do is they would bring in, whether it be a free agent, they would bring in a draft choice, and they would sell this person as being a difference maker as opposed to being a piece. And Joique, you brought up a great point earlier, okay?
All right.
Joique, you were a piece of a puzzle.
I was a piece of a puzzle.
You were a piece of a puzzle, okay?
Yeah.
The bigger pieces were Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford, okay? They just were. And you know, I don't take disrespect to that.
I would probably consider myself like I wouldn't say like the X factor, something like that. If I have a good game,
sure,
we have a better chance of winning. Right?
Sure.
So
you know what? Here, let's use our now mutual friend Darren McCarty. Darren McCarty wasn't a star. Darren McCarty was a guy that you needed.
All right.
You needed that, and Joique Bell was a guy that you needed, and so that to me, what the Red Wings did is they would say, well, we have a good player or we have an X factor, and they wouldn't say that he was an X factor. They would say that he's a star to be, and you can't be something that you aren't. You can't. You're not. I mean, there's no other way to say that.
Right.
You can't be something that you aren't. So they would say, oh, wait till you see this Kennedy Broadwell. This Kennedy Broadwell, I mean, has a chance to be one of the best defensemen forever. And so Kennedy Broadwell, you'd come in and you watch her for a year and you'd go, Kennedy Broadwell's all right. And then the next year, Kennedy Broadwell's like a 3. You know, I'd put her on the second defense pairing. But they sold a bill of goods on a few guys that came in here that weren't what they thought they would be.
Yeah.
And that's what helped get them into the issue that they've been in the past few years.
Right.
You have a legitimate scouting staff in there, and I give Steve Yzerman all the credit in the world for this, and I'm serious, and I'd love to get Steve on sometime.
Yeah, you need to get him on. I need you to drop your name.
You know what's really cool about this, Joique? Let me tell you something. I've done a lot of junior hockey broadcasts, whether it be in the OHL or the United States Hockey League, and I even did college hockey games up at Michigan State. You don't see a lot of general managers going all around seeing games. You see Steve Yzerman going around doing the games. Because usually what happens is a general manager will say, Art is one of my top scouts. He's the Eastern Ontario scout. Joique, he's my Michigan scout. Kennedy, she's my out west scout, right? And they kind of delegate. Steve is the type of guy that says, I'm flying to Germany because I want to watch Mo Seider play. I'm going to go to the USA Hockey Arena because I want to watch Dylan Larkin play. I'm going up to Michigan State. You know what I mean? Right. And so I got mad respect for that. And it starts with him. And then, you know, Chris Draper and all the scouts, they go out all over the place. McCarty had a great quote when Yzerman came back to Detroit. He said, it's almost like you're having a bad day, but Dad's home now, and everything's going to be okay. Dad's home. Dad came home. And I was like, dude, that was solid. You know what I mean? And I think that's where it's at with the Red Wings right now.
Yeah. It's going to be
Take a little more time, but
it'll be okay.
You're going to come down to a game with us. For real.
Okay.
Me and McCarty, let's go to Little Caesars Arena. It's a blast. I'm sure you've been there, but it's a blast down there.
So really. So I'm going to tell you right now, the first Red Wing game that I went to was 2016. They were in the playoffs, and that was my first game, and the atmosphere was electrifying.
Isn't it amazing?
It was electrifying. All right?
It's amazing.
And this is when it was at Joe Louis, and there's no bad seats in the Joe Louis. There's no bad seats, right? Now, there's some bad seats in Little Caesars. Like, you get all the way up top, and you far away. You far away from it. But, yeah, that's what Art says. Art, this is where you sit up there? This is where you sit?
I sneak into the suites when I can.
Okay.
And I have done that. I will admit that.
He must.
Art, you're such a beauty. You just.
Yeah. I'm waiting to make that Joique Bell money.
I can totally see it.
He just takes it. He takes it.
I did. It was UFC 218. I snuck into the suites. It was awesome. Yeah.
That is so good. Art, I can totally see you doing that. Oh, is that great?
Thanks, Joique.
No, but you know, Joique, can I say this?
Yeah.
And, we all have fond memories of Joe Louis Arena, right? The place was a gosh damn dump. It was, and I wouldn't have said that even 3 years ago because you know how people are around here. Detroiters, we love Detroit. We are Detroit-centric, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's why I always say in our business, and you know with your radio background, Art, outside shows don't work here. No. You could bring in the king of all media, Howard Stern. It doesn't work here. We're about Detroit. We're Detroit-centric. So say 3 years ago, I didn't have the guts to say what I'm saying now.
You would have
What?
got
Because
stomped
people
out.
might have come to my house and burned my house down. How could you talk that way about Joe Louis Arena? Place was a flipping dump. I mean, it was a dump. It had to come down. It had to come. And, you know, I think it's interesting because no player would go on the record saying this.
Right.
But knowing a few guys, it got disappointing to them. And you can speak to this as an athlete.
Yeah.
Look, when you travel to Philly and everything that they have is not just nicer, but infinitely nicer than what you have in Allen Park or Ford Field, you guys are going to notice, hey, whoa, what the hell's going on here? What, you know, the Red Wings, every barn that they went to wasn't just a little bit nicer. Night and day nicer. It really was. So I get what you're saying. I think.
I mean, they might have had that L. Davis kind of approach that where when the opponents comes into that other locker room, they want it to be as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah.
They want it to be as uncomfortable.
Yep.
We don't want you guys to be comfortable in here. The locker room is going to be small. It's going to be tiny. The lockers are going to be just big enough to get your shoulder pads in. The stools are going to be still and right next to each other, and it's not going to be comfortable. And you're going to have to scoot around your teammates to get your pads on. It was uncomfortable in Oakland. It was as far as the stadium, the locker room for the opponent team. I like Oakland, the city, but that locker room, I want for it.
No.
I want for it.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Steve said, love the Joe. Kennedy said it was a dump, but it was our dump. That was always my line about the Silverdome.
The Silverdome was trash.
It was, but you know what? And if any of my friends are watching right now, my partner from the Smoke Show, he and I, Mike Iveso, we used to grow up going to games together. It was our dump.
Oh, yeah.
And it was,
that's home.
It was a big, giant mistake of cement, the Pontiac Silverdome.
Right.
Somebody just dumped a bunch of cement, including on the turf, and said, go play football on the turf. That's not turf, that's cement, right?
Put some bleachers up there.
But it was, and they put some bleachers up there, and they had, I mean, it was MMA up on the third level of the Silverdome. I mean, there were fights every game. You just accepted it. And so even as a young kid, Joique, I'm like, I'm not going up there.
Or not.
No, I don't
That's
need
where the
to.
fun.
I
That's
don't
where
need
the fun
somebody
is.
to put me in a reverse arm lock or something.
That's where
right?
the fun.
Because
That's where the fun is.
Now, but so with that being said, it was the memories that I have of that place, and like tailgating next door at Lely's, that field. I left half of the leg from my skin there. You know, when you're younger, you're playing football on rocks, and we tackle each other on the rocks. Hey, look, I got a 6-inch gash on my arm. Ooh. It was a dump. It was all part of the experience, and that's the way Joe Louis was. Steve said those stairs are iconic. Joe was bad at the end, much like Tiger Stadium was a bad place at the end of its life span. The Palace was the only place still good when it was abandoned. I would tell everybody this: Tiger Stadium was a death trap. There's no other way to say that. They had to stop.
They had to stop.
They either you were going to pour millions of dollars into Tiger Stadium, millions of dollars, or it was, they had this walkway, Joique, I'm not making this up. They had this walkway for the media where you had to walk from the elevator to where the media lounge was, right? And it was like this little tunnel that was not supported by anything. And I'm not joking, when you walked on this thing, it reminded you like those movies where you had to walk across one of those bridges where you're like, I'm going to fall through.
Yeah, the loop.
I'm going to fall. And then finally, I just started sprinting across it. Because you were really worried that the damn thing was going to come down. It had to go. I hate it because
I like what they did with the space now. I like what they did with the property.
Yeah,
now.
it's pretty cool, isn't it?
It is. It's nice.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the Pal took it over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Detroit Pal took it over. I've been there a couple of times for a few different events, man. I like what Pal is doing in the city. Yeah,
It's outstanding.
Yeah, I know what they're doing.
I'm all about it, Police Athletic League.
Yeah.
So, no, you know what? It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Wings because, you know what? I want to see. I want to see what some of the young guys can do. I'm excited. You brought this up, Kennedy. I like the idea of putting Anthony Mantha, Dylan Larkin, and Tyler Bertuzzi together. I still think Tyler Bertuzzi is going to become a fan favorite in this town. He plays like a Detroiter. He plays like you play like a Detroiter.
Yeah,
you do. You play like a Detroiter.
All right.
And Tyler Bertuzzi, and you know what I would define play like a Detroiter, and I'll let you talk to this, okay?
There's a person who got it out the mud. That's it.
Yeah.
There's a blue collar person
Yep.
who got it out the mud.
Yep.
Not entitled.
Yep.
I want to be here. I want to play for the city, but
They got some sandpaper to him.
Yeah.
You got some sandpaper to you.
Yeah. And then you get here, and then yeah. Yeah, I'm a little rough. Yeah, a little rough around the edges, you know.
A little. Jeez.
Yeah. I thought,
God bless you, Art.
Listen, Sean, stop. You know, it's like a child. You can't feed into or they'll keep doing it. They'll keep doing it.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's stay focused.
All right, stay focused.
Remember, he has to raise his hand before he
No,
speaks.
but you know what? It is it's a legitimate point. That's what you want. You want. I want a Detroiter. You have to have guys that represent your city.
Yeah.
You were a guy.
Yeah.
You weren't a superstar. You're a damn good player. Every team would go, I want that guy on my team. Same thing with Darren McCarty.
Yeah. You see-
I want that guy on my. Tyler Bertuzzi's a Detroiter.
Yeah, you see my mom chimed in. She said Detroit equals relentless.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Mom.
Yeah. I
Yep.
see my Dukes chiming in.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's
She
a
texted
really
my
good
phone
one.
and said, I need more energy from you. I said, Mom, relax. I'm the chill one. Sean brings the energy. I got to bring it back.
Yeah, he has to bring me down.
Simmer down.
Yeah,
Simmer down, Sean.
He just brought me down a couple minutes ago. Say, don't feed the animals. Yes, sir. Just immediately go erect.
Tin Hut.
Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly. Yes,
Tin Hut.
sir.
I'm joking.
Yes, sir.
Sean the man. Sean runs the show here. I chime in,
Give me
when
a
he
break.
lets me. When he lets me. You know what? Tim came to me yesterday and said that, he said, you know what? I got an idea for you. It'll be so cool. I said, what's the idea, Tim? He said, I'm going to get you a cowbell. And whenever Sean goes on and on and on, you want to change the topic, you just ring the bell. I said, okay, Tim, that's a good idea. He said, we have to be different, guys. We have to be different. I said, we are different. We are different.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Now, you know what's funny?
Best thing that happened to Detroit Sports Talk Show. Right here.
This stuff, oh,
Right here.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
Right
it's
here.
New. It's It's new.
From here
it's
to here.
different. We're going to be even more interactive than we are right now. You guys have to trust us when I say this. This is the start. I mean, there are so many things that are planned. I mean, when this was approached. I mean, number one, the opportunity to work with him.
Yeah.
Number two, just this.
But we
whole
worked together
idea.
before, though, which is weird.
Yeah,
right?
I know it is.
Right?
It's kinda
like
weird.
the irony of it. The
Yeah,
irony of it
yeah.
all. Like, we worked together. So for people who don't know, Sean used to call my games when I was in college.
did.
His first year was my last year leaving out of Wayne State.
Yep.
And I think ever since then, you've been a supporter.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And-
Absolutely. It's funny. I didn't know this. You showed me. You have a touchdown run of yours on your IG, and there's my dumb voice playing. You showed me that.
Yeah.
And there's my
yeah.
dumb voice playing, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Same voice 11 years later.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? I keep hoping for puberty. One day it'll deepen.
Same voice. And Steve, no, I didn't. No, I didn't, Steve. Steve said, Joique, you're forgetting about Art. I didn't forget about Art. I said this is the best thing that happened to Detroit sports talk shows in the Detroit metro area, right here.
I think we have to
including
go to
Kennedy
break.
as well. Kennedy is in it. You can't see her, but she's right here, so I'm including Kennedy.
All right, listen, when we come back, we're going to get in some NFL playoff talk. It's funny because, this is, Kenny, you and I were joking about this before the show started. Here one boss is saying, have the cowbell. Here the other boss, the guy that owns this, saying, keep talking about football. Keep talking about football. You can't talk enough football. So
Hold
it's
on,
like,
do chat again.
keep talking about football. Keep talking about football. You can't talk about
They're gonna eat it up. They're gonna love it. They're gonna love it. They're gonna just talk about it, and then it's gonna keep bringing in more people, and it's gonna be crazy. We're gonna get.
You know what it is? It's like a WWF character. It's almost like Hulkamania. Well, I'll tell you, brother, I'm sitting here with all my Hulkamania saying their prayers, taking their vitamins. You keep talking football. That's what people want. Play their hits, and it's going to be great.
He's looking right now.
And we'll come back with a break.
There he is. He's watching us right now.
Welcome to Grow Green, the green standard for garden supplies here in Michigan over the past 10 years. We offer the best gardening and lawn care products and have an extremely knowledgeable staff to help you create your dream garden or make your yard the envy of the neighborhood. Shop the store located in Whitmore Lake or online at growgreenmi.com. Delivery and curbside pickup available. Grow Green, making Michigan greener one grower at a time.
All right, welcome back in. So glad you could join us here on a Friday morning. Hopefully you're having as much fun as we are. It's a lot of fun. Listen, just to finish that thought, there is so much more coming with this. Not only are we going to be on these platforms, but we're going to have the ability to have some video calls with you, some phone calls, have you be up on the board as well. Be patient with us. There's a lot that goes into this, and thank God we have a guy who's behind the scenes. Not only is he all fired up, but he's going to stop at nothing to give us everything that we need and everything that you deserve as a viewer in this. I'm serious, I've been in this business for 25 years. I've had the opportunity to work in radio, television. I've written, I've called professional games. I've never, ever, and I'm not just saying this, been in a position where an owner is saying, what do you need? What can I do for you? It's what every person in this business dreams of. This business has become so corporate that it's all about penny pinching in every way, shape, and form. And I can see Art shaking his head over there because he's been in radio. I've never been in a business where the owner comes out and says, what do you need? And then not only does he ask the question, but he goes out and gets it. Mm-hmm. And that's, to me, that's why this is going to be successful. Period, end of story. And so we're forever grateful to Chad, certainly for that. And Kenny said, I'm pretty sure your hair took over Chad's hairstyle. Wait, Chad, look at see, right? All I need to do is get a little blonde in there.
Yeah, blonde in there.
Did you see me getting some frost in there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Only if my daughter says so.
You just need a little blonde.
You know how that works. If I had my way, I'd still have the big fuzzy beard. But when your daughter says, "Dad, enough, it's time to shave," I shaved that day.
I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna have a day like a impersonation day where you're gonna go in there before the show. You're gonna get your hair dyed blonde.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
How can I help you, my brother? You know, that's how it starts out with Chad, and then all of a sudden it just builds to a crescendo.
And it hits you with
you're
the
going,
butt.
Hulkster, time out. You know,
he's a businessman, and I respect it. Whatever you need, bud.
Yep.
Whatever you need, bud.
Yep. How can I make your life easier? Somebody asked, Jenna. Jenna's like, we should put Jenna on staff. She helps us out more than we do. Steve said, how can we buy Woodward Sports gear? Jenna, you're right. Check out the website, woodwardsports.com. We've got some gear on there, some pretty cool gear. One of my buddies bought like the hockey jersey. Yeah. They like have the mock hockey jersey. It's pretty cool.
And and we having some talks. I think we're going to change it to Baligian and Joique, not Baligian and Bell. I still think
you deserve top billing. That's just one man's opinion.
Yeah.
Joique and Baligian, right? I mean, you're Joique Bell.
Hey, but you're Sean Baligian.
Oh boy. It just got deep in here. Got deep in here, didn't it?
Sean Baligian.
All right. So what are your thoughts this weekend? First of all, I want to take care of something because, again, this is Young Kennedy's. Do you like that I call you Young Kennedy, by the way? Does that bother you?
No, because I got it on the Drew and Mike show, too.
Okay. Yeah, you're just Young Kennedy, right? Well, if it's good enough for Drew Lane, then I'm going to stick with it. Young Kennedy was the most important thing. How are you going to watch your games? Are you making something? Do you have a get together? Do you invite people over? Like the holidays or something. Say, hey, you want to chill out, watch a game? Anything like that going on with you?
Yes, but that's usually for Super Bowl.
Okay.
And so what I would usually do. I'll have like some type of Super Bowl party, and I'll call some of my like Detroit friends or people that are in town. Call them over. It'll be a little bit different this year, but usually I'll do something like. Had a chef come over, he'll cook up a bunch of food, like football food, like chips and dips, and then we'll have like some other things like this Rotel dip that he makes. It has like beef, cheese, and stuff. Like peppers and like it's like everything. He makes this thing, and we'll sit down, we'll eat that during the game. Then he's making like every like quarter, he's making something different. So it's cool. We sit back, watch the game, do that. During halftime, we're watching the halftime show, playing a little bit of pool, ping pong, and we kick it.
Yeah.
No converse and just I won't say network, but we fellowship.
Well, it's funny because that's one of the things that Kennedy wanted to talk about. Are there some vegan options out there for people like Joique and for people like young Kennedy?
Yeah. So what that dip that he makes, he can use. So you can make all of that vegan, everything
That's
you
what
have
I
right
do
there.
here, Joique. I put that up there. You're welcome.
No, so all that's not vegan. But
I put the picture up on the board. You're welcome, okay?
Thank you. He got something up there. And so, that was pretty good. So, Kennedy, you make like a buffalo, and and instead of using
Now, how do you
meat,
call it chicken? I'm intrigued at this.
Yeah, come up
Buffalo
here. Come right here in the
chicken.
middle. Come over here.
But there's
the
no
middle.
chicken in here. Young Kennedy's going to explain
Yeah,
her
she's gonna
buffalo
explain
chicken with
a
no
buffalo
chicken.
So for all the vegans out there, if you guys want to know what to eat during the Super Bowl, during the playoffs, when you have your family and friends over, Kennedy is going to walk you through how to make these buffalo vegan, some vegan buffalo chicken.
Okay,
Right.
It's the best thing ever. It's super simple. So you soak your own cashews, and then you put them in like a food processor, and it makes your cheese. It makes it all soft and stuff. And then instead of chicken, you use artichokes. So it's like kind of like a pulled chicken texture, and then like a shit ton of Frank's hot sauce. And like you blend it all together.
I put that shit on everything, by the way.
Yeah.
I put it on everything.
Everything.
Like, I'm such a hot sauce freak. But it's really easy. It takes like 15 minutes, and then you put it in the oven so you get the crispy on top.
Right.
You know?
Right.
How buffalo chicken dip should be.
It should be.
You know what? I would be willing to try that. I would be willing to try that.
I'm the only vegan out of my friends, and I had them all over to watch like the first Lions game of the season, and they all tried it and they all liked it.
Real quick, hey, and Kennedy, tell people why you went vegan and how you went vegan. I was very interested with this story when she told me.
Oh, okay. So I went vegan because it's better for the environment. I'm like really eco-conscious. I try and like shop sustainably, eat sustainably. So like vegetables, like people always try and be like, vegans are dumb, whatever. And I was that way too until I did my research. Yeah. So I looked into it, and like it takes way less water for like vegetables and stuff than to like keep animals alive until like you need to kill them and stuff. I also love animals, so I never really ate cow to begin with because I worked at a farm and stuff, and there was cows, and I loved them. So I was like, I don't want to eat them.
Okay.
So
how? And I'll tell the story like how, like when you were vegan, how you did it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, when I first started going vegan, I was abroad in Germany, and they are really, really eco-friendly, eco-conscious. So they had like the greatest vegan options abroad because everyone wanted to help the environment. Like Germans are great about recycling, water usage, everything.
Okay. And then when you came back over here, it was lights out.
It was easy after being Kennedy, 3 weeks in Germany.
Yeah. You know how, you guys all have an open invite over my house? Mm-hmm. While I'm not going to rescind the offer, I am going to say you might not want to come over my house. Because after hearing you say that, I have a feeling my meat locker would offend you. You're more than welcome to come. But you might be offended.
I don't think
I'm not that vegan that's like shaming people for, like some people will sit there and be like, well, I would never date someone that eats meat. I'm not gonna shame you. Yeah. I might every once in a while be like, we can think a little more about the environment, but
Well, no. Yeah. All right. Well, come over.
Well, one of my favorite things, Art, I don't know if you know this, and I actually I tweeted this a couple weeks back. Art, you included that in this picture. I don't know if it was Art that you got this picture, Kennedy.
I got it.
The most underrated thing in the history of mankind is pigs in a blanket. Ugh. I will not hear anything else. It is so underrated.
It's not underrated. It's rated where it's supposed to be.
It's tremendous.
Yeah, no.
Can we do a quick poll?
Even when I was consuming animal products, I would never eat that.
You don't like pigs in a blanket?
I never would eat that.
Kennedy's going to
Ever.
put a poll up
I don't
of what
care.
to eliminate
Hey,
out of a list of like,
Okay.
nachos and cheese,
even
all that.
even when I don't know, I'm gonna call it. Even when I didn't have many resources, I would not eat that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Never,
Listen,
never.
I'm not. I was gonna say I'll have you over and I'll make some for you.
No,
Or-
you're not gonna.
No,
you-
listen. You know what I do? Do you know what the key is? What I don't think people do when you make the pigs in the blanket?
What?
You have to cook the pigs first. You don't cook the pigs in the blanket, right? You cook the pigs first. You cook the pigs. That's what you have to cook the pigs first.
Isn't that hot dogs?
No, because
It
they're,
is.
they're,
It
they're,
is.
That's
No,
hot
they're the Lil Smokies, Lil, not Little.
That's a rapper, bro.
Lil Smokies. You know, like nobody
Well,
calls him Little Wayne. He's
so,
Lil Wayne, right?
So where does
Lil
it come
Smokies.
from? Well, how do they make it? How do they process it?
I don't even want to know. I just know they.
No
taste
one
good.
knows. That's why I
Yeah,
refuse
it's
to eat
mystery
them.
meat. But listen, cook it first, and then Joique, I'm telling you, you wrap it. you wrap it, and then you get your different flavored sauces out there. I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah, what do they call it? Putting sauce on. You don't know what
Kenny
you
said
eating.
if you throw some cheese in the pigs in a blanket, it's a game changer.
Yeah, wrapping some cheese around some poop.
Talk-
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. That's what they probably. That's what
I
they,
might just do the last half hour as Chad Johnson now. I might. How could you say that? I can't believe what I'm hearing. All right. No. Yeah, I know who's going to lose. No, okay, now time out. Seriously.
Time in.
Nachos and queso or pigs in a blanket?
Nachos and queso all day. It's not even a debate.
For real?
Yeah, because again, you don't know what's in. Like, I have a gluten allergy, so I can't have anything with gluten, so I can't have the bread around it anyway. But no one knows what a little smoky is. No one knows.
No, that's-
It's like hot dog. Like, no
is
one knows
mystery
what's
meat.
really in
It
a
is-
hot
it
dog.
is mystery.
It's a mystery. Now, wings, I'll take chicken wings over everything. Everything. But when it comes to pigs in a blanket, nah, I'll pass. That's disgusting.
I have a feeling I'm going to lose this one. I have a feeling that, and so thus my point will be made. Pigs in the blanket are disrespected. Pigs in a blanket don't get enough love. I'm telling you. But no, it's going to definitely finish last because look, if you're giving me my choice, look at these wings. Like I'm going to show you. I wish I had like on television. Yeah, whatever it's called. But look at that wing right there. How are you going to say no to that big, juicy, meaty wing? You're not going to do that. You know, I love my pigs in a blanket. Like, those are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, okay? But come on.
Baligian's giving a presentation right now.
Which one are you going to choose? You got right all day. I know that. I'm making a losing argument now.
No, I'm
Wouldn't be the
pointing.
first time.
I'm pointing at the salary.
Oh, you like this?
Yeah, but
you
not
miss
everyone's a
wings?
rabbit.
Do you miss wings?
Nah, not really.
No?
I haven't craved like animal meat.
What about when that brisket was here the other day? Did you?
I didn't.
You didn't?
It's been like over a year.
You didn't quench your
I never
little?
liked brisket before.
Okay.
you
All
know?
right.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I didn't like it, but it wouldn't be my first choice. But it did look delicious. Though.
All right. So what would be a burger, a
Probably
steak,
a steak.
tomahawk?
Probably a tomahawk.
All right, I'm gonna make you a tomahawk. You let me know when. I'm gonna
right.
make you a tomahawk.
All right.
I'm gonna make you a tomahawk. All right, so this is why what we're talking about. This is what's going on this weekend. Maybe you're having a little get together. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm having kind of a 2-day thing. I have a football game to call tomorrow night, so I got to take a little break in the action, and then I have all Sunday off to watch these games. We're going to talk about some of these lines and the weekend action. Don't go anywhere. Joique Bell, Sean Baligian, Woodward Sports.
Welcome to Grow Green, the green standard for garden supplies here in Michigan over the past 10 years. We offer the best gardening and lawn care products and have an extremely knowledgeable staff to help you create your dream garden or make your yard the envy of the neighborhood. Shop the store located in Whitmore Lake or online at growgreenmi.com. Delivery and curbside pickup available. Grow Green, making Michigan greener one grower at a time.
I like this. Scott, spinach dip is worthless. I'd rather eat spackle. Thank you. What? Thank you. Thank you. All day. I got no time for that. Compared to all that other stuff that was up on that,
You don't like artichoke dip?
you are so far in the background. Oh,
Nah,
absolutely.
Nah, I mean, I would eat that. That's like you'll eat that before you even get to the
You're
chicken
right.
wings.
That's top 5.
Yeah.
That's top
You
5.
don't eat the artichoke dip? What?
It is so far in the background with that. It really is.
And what an insult to Kennedy. She put that she makes a great chicken. You turn it into spinach artichoke.
I'll
How
try it.
insulting.
I'll try it.
Insulting.
Jenna said Little Smokies are pork and chicken, all the other random shit that goes into it. Larry said, what do you eat, Bell?
I eat Beyond Burgers. I like Beyond Meat Burgers. I eat the Beyond vegan sausages they have, like the smoke. They have the hot ones too. I don't know if you tried those yet, Kennedy, but those are good. Yeah,
Vegan hot wings? Really?
not hot wings. The
Oh,
hot
okay.
sausage.
Okay, all right.
They have those. They have. I eat the nuggets, the chicken nuggets. They have some really good chicken nuggets.
Now time out.
They have some really good vegan chicken.
You're shitting on me talking about what's in Little Smoky, and you're talking about chicken nuggets that don't have chicken.
Yeah.
What is it? What's in there?
Like chickpeas. That's the main ingredient.
Chickpeas.
You won't be able to tell the difference.
I'm gonna throw some chicken feed down on the ground.
You can't.
Really?
Yeah.
Are
can't
you
tell-
serious?
Yeah, you can't tell the difference.
All right, Art.
And it's healthy.
Yeah,
All right, I'll try
Joique,
it.
may I ask a question? Is that okay? I just want to get a question in. Is there ever a point where you miss eating meat at all, or is it just like you have, gotten so far past it?
Unlike you, I never ate meat.
Oh.
Thanks. Anyway, let's move on to the topic, guys. I'm done.
What?
So, 1 o'clock tomorrow, Colts and Bills. This is weird. This one is Bills minus 6.5. I love Buffalo in Orchard Park against a team that plays inside. I think it almost makes you wonder.
That's any up north team though,
Right?
That plays
I
outside.
know.
Chicago, Green Bay, Buffalo. Yeah.
I don't understand that line. It almost makes me overthink this. Like, am I missing something? Am I missing? Because you know how Phillip Rivers is. Phillip Rivers can single-handedly beat you some weeks. Phillip Rivers can single-handedly lose a game for you some weeks. Maybe they're banking on the good Phillip Rivers, but a guy that played his whole career in San Diego and then a year in L.A. and then inside in Indy, I like the Bills' chances in that one by a lot. I think that one's going to be ugly. I really do.
Yes.
6.5? I'd give 6.5 all day.
For that game.
Heck yeah. Here you go. I'd skip to make my bet. Rams and Seahawks, you see it right there. Latest line. Thanks to Kennedy for getting this one. This line has moved a little bit. This line was at 3, then it moved to 4. Some places when I looked this morning, it was still Seattle by 4. But here's another one, Joique.
I would give plus 14 for that Buffalo game.
See, I feel the same way.
I'd give plus 14.
Seattle at home with the whole 12th man thing and all of that.
Yeah.
I like Seattle even up to win by a touchdown. But Seattle at home, even though, they don't have the crazy fans in there, that team just plays different, man.
I don't understand what this stuff means. Money line negative 420.
You want me to explain that to
Yeah,
you?
what explain that to me and the listeners. Because understand, I never betted before on games, right? So I don't know how this works.
All right, so you know what plus 8.5 is, right?
Yeah, like you're gonna win by.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in order for me to win the bet, let's say I take Tampa.
Right.
Tampa has to win by 9 or more.
Right. Okay.
There's no, if they win by 8, I lose the bet. And usually, even if the line is straight 8, the way that you'll lose, tie goes to the house. So they have to win. They have to win that. They have to win the whatchamacallit, they have to win the game by 9. So if Tampa wins the game 31-21, and I take Tampa, I win. I win. It's that simple. Okay. Over under, you get that, right? Okay, over under is the total points scored by Tampa and the Washington football team has to go over 45 points.
Okay.
It has to go. It has to go over 45 points. So the best way to say it, like college football, right? Because it's turned into almost like college basketball with all the scoring.
This is our game betting 101 segment.
Yes.
Continue.
So basically, the way that the way that college football is going, you're seeing the numbers go like sky high. Like I forget the last number. Kennedy, maybe you can look that up real quick. What's the last number for the over/under on Alabama and Ohio State? It's because it legitimately turned into college basketball, and like we were talking about the other day, and we'll talk about it in great deal on Monday.
I was gonna say 80. I was gonna say 80.
And you know what? I tell you what, Joique, I would bury the over. I agree with you. I would say closer to 80.
Yeah.
75.
That's it.
75. I'd bury the over. I Alabama. Let's say it's 45-38. You win. 45-38. I mean, these are two teams that have shown they can move the ball. They can move the ball. They can score, and both defenses can be torched. Yeah, so like there's no given. I'll give you the best way to describe the money line. Betting the money line for a game is possibly the most simple way to wager on sports. Bettors just choose a player or team to win. If the bettor chooses the winning side, the sportsbook will pay the amount due. The underdog team or player on the money line is the team that's expected to lose. So, for example, when you have the positive number on a money line, and here I'm going to read verbatim. A money line of plus 200 would mean that you would make a profit of 200 if you were to bet $100 and you were correct. Does that make sense?
I'm with you.
A minus 200 money line means you would win 100 if you bet 200.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So most people, a lot of my buddies, like one of my buddies, hi Mike, is a big money line guy. I'm a spread guy. And so what the spread is this, the +4. The Rams are getting 4, so it's 4.
So I know what the spread. So I know what the spread is. Okay.
Yeah. So money line has become really popular in recent years, but I'm a spread guy. I don't think that number doesn't lie. And so what happens is, like I said, let's say you're taking the bet.
Right.
It's Joique Bell Casino.
Right.
I'm going to say, you know what? I'm putting $500. I'm putting $500 on the Seattle Seahawks. I place my bet down. If Seattle wins 28-24, my money's gone. My money's gone. I lose my $500.
Say you bet on LA and LA wins. How much did you get right here?
Oh, if you're talking money line, well then it explodes. If you're talking money line, you're talking about, depending on how much money you get, you're getting. I don't know what the money line is for LA. Let's say it's plus 110. So you would get plus 220 on your $100 bet.
Okay.
So that's what's good. Now I'm gonna get really crazy if you want. You know what a parlay is?
A parlay is when you bet
Ryan
on
you
bet on multiple games, and every game you bet on, you have to win, and if you win all games,
then it's a multiplier. I'll give you an example. I was in, and this comes back to Tim Tebow.
I knew that one.
I was in Vegas once, and there were a bunch of Florida Gator fans, and one of the guys was behind me in line, and I took Ole Miss against Florida, right? And so these Florida Gator fans were just pissing on me the whole game. And I kept saying, I hope Florida wins. I don't care as long as Ole Miss covers the spread. As long as Ole Miss covers the spread. And big-time college football fans might remember this. Florida got upset. That was the game where Tim Tebow said, I let everybody down. We're never going to lose again. And then they never lost again. But I ended up, Joique, with a 5-team parlay that the whole time my wife's yelling at me going, we are so late for the green guy group or whatever the hell it's called. And I'm going, blue, green, whatever the hell it is, right? And she's screaming at me and I'm going, you're going to understand this and just give me 5 minutes, please. the green guys they're mad and all that stuff. And I'm going, just please, because I can't verbalize why I'm waiting, right? I can't verbalize why I'm waiting because then I'm going to jinx it. So as soon as Ole Miss not only covered the spread but won the game, I handed her I handed her my bet slip and I said, go walk up there and you'll understand why we're going to be late to the green-blue guys or whatever.
Right.
And she goes, what are you talking about? I said, go take this to the cage. And she goes, why do I need to take it to the cage? I said, because this is going to explain to you why I was adamant that we stay here. So she goes, what do? I go, hand them the card and they're going to hand you money. How much money? You'll find out. It was a significant amount of money because I hit my parlay.
How much was it?
How much?
You want me to tell you? $2,900.
Ooh.
$2,900.
And what happened?
She went from literally wanting to. I think she was contemplating going to get a divorce lawyer because I made her late to the blue, green, orange guys or whatever they're called. I was out like a light in 5 minutes. I'm telling you right now. We went. Oh, I can't wait to see these guys. I was that guy sitting like that watching the Green Man Group or whatever the hell it is. She went from she hands a card in and the guy starts like counting out money and it was like this. He didn't stop.
Do that face to the camera.
That's right. Like, seriously, like, I'm the camera. She's looking at the guy, and she goes, like that. And she's like, how much money? I go, just wait. He's gonna keep counting out that money. So
he gonna keep counting out that money.
But that's
as you say in the hood, you just hit a lick, huh?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Now, the flip side to that is, and our buddy Ryan Ermani was in here the other day. The flip side to that is, you can hit the first three, right?
Right, and lose that last one.
And you lose that last one, your whole bet's gone.
Whole bet.
And he lost by a half point. He took the over last week on the Lions-Packers game, and he had a big parlay, and he lost by a half point. And that's psychologically damaging. I don't care what anybody says.
That's traumatic.
Man. It is. It's traumatic. So it's kind of funny how that works out. And of course, with this gaming stuff blowing up around here, not only can you go in, but there's going to be some online gaming. Yeah. We're going to talk to a special guest about that just next week. Rip Hamilton is going to join us. See how you like that tease? You like that?
Rip, little tease. We have a lot of guests coming up next week.
We do. You want to tease some of your boys?
Oh, yeah. Actually, Kennedy sent me a list of all the guys we have coming on next week. Next week is going to be very, very busy for us, but that's good, all right? That's real good. So I think on Monday, let me see if I can find Kennedy. We have Eric Ebron on Monday with Jamal Agnew. On Tuesday we have Brandon Graham and that's the homie right there. We came out together. Brandon Graham. We have Rip Hamilton coming in. Thursday we have Don Carey. Actually just ran for office in Virginia and won.
That a boy?
Yeah, that a boy. And on Friday we had big smiles, the biggest smile you ever see, Ron Broyles. So I
can't wait to chat with him.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Big fan of his at Oklahoma. Really, I was.
Yeah.
I told you I'm not going to tell him this, but like when the Lions got him and where they got him in the draft, I was doing backflips. Like seriously, I thought.
Because we got the second round.
Yeah, I thought incredible value. Are you kidding me? This guy, and it just
I don't know how he passed up,
man.
Sometimes
it happens. So. Steve said that he has online betting here in Illinois. It's coming here. It's going to be here sooner than you know it. So that's a pretty cool thing. So, all right, very quickly, then I'm going to ask you. Bills, are you giving the points -6.5 to cover against the Colts?
Yeah,
all right.
For sure.
Rams and Seahawks were just up there. Kennedy has the line at 4. Are you taking the favorite or are you taking the dog?
No, I'm taking the favorite.
Same with me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's the other one we didn't get to over here.
Yeah.
The Washington football team at home, a heavy home dog, getting 8.5 against Tampa. Now remember, Tampa's been up and down this year. They've looked really good at times. They've looked really crappy at times.
It's gonna depend on Alex Smith and how well he's playing. And it's going to depend on the Tampa Bay defense. Right now, I think the Tampa Bay offense and Washington defense is going to match up relatively well. Because Washington football team, they're playing at a high level.
They are.
You look at them and we take credit away from them because their record. We take credit away from them because they're not doing well offensively. And as we all know, that this is changing into an offensive league. So we're not giving them the credit that they deserve. But defensively, they're playing really, really well. I don't know if it's going to be well enough to – I'm going to take the underdogs in this. I'm still going to take Tampa. They got Washington winning by 8.5?
No, Tampa by 8.5.
Oh, okay.
That's why Washington's the heavy home dog.
Okay.
I think 8.5 is too much. I really do.
You think it's too much?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I think they might win. I think they win this game like 27-14. And that's going to be based off field position. This game is going to be strictly based on turnover ratio.
Would I bet on that? No. But for the sake of us having this conversation, I'd bet on Seattle. I'd really bet on Buffalo. I think Buffalo's going to whoop some ass, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that with my heart because I love Coach F and I love Josh Allen. I think Buffalo's going to whoop some ass against a dome team in Orchard Park. But for the sake of us having a conversation, I'd take the 8.5. Joique, I could see that being a 24-17 game. Because Washington's got themselves a pretty damn good defense.
Yeah.
And has an incredible weapon with Chase.
Right.
So I could see that. You know, one of those games where Tampa leads the whole game, so maybe the score's a little deceiving. You know, where Washington scores late to make it a touchdown, but 8.5 at home in the playoffs is a lot of points.
It is.
It's a lot of points. All right, Sunday, this is where it gets intriguing to me. Ravens and Titans. Okay?
Hey.
In Tennessee. Are you ready for this? Baltimore's favored by 3. Tennessee's a home dog.
I won't bet on that.
I take Derrick Henry. Give me 3 points at home. I'll take Derrick Henry.
I won't bet on that.
Okay. Bears and Saints.
Saints.
The Bell Bowl. We were calling it the Bell Bowl.
Saints.
You know what the point spread is there? 10.
Yeah.
Would you give 10?
Yeah.
So would I, all day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even think twice. I'd give 10 all day. Browns and Steelers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw this just to revert back to Tampa. We about to see playoff Brady.
Playoff Brady?
Playoff Brady. We'll see.
Don't call him out. Don't poke the bear. Don't
playoff Brady.
Just shut up. Don't poke the bear.
We'll see.
You know what? Especially after poking the bear, I'm not going to say this. By the way, Jenna said, Rip used to come into my work at Cheeseburger in Paradise. We'd get pissed that the music guys would announce it too. The guys just wanted to come and eat, not be bothered by anybody. Respect, right? That's Jen. I'm with you. It's like Joique, like I told you, when I have a barbecue, it's a really cool. Nobody's fanboy, and we're just like, what's up? Like honestly, that was like when Matt came over. I told all my buddies ahead of time.
And it's
if one of you guys fanboy, I'm gonna beat the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Everybody was cool.
You know, but it's one of those things too, to where. You have the people who are, oh, what's up? Have a conversation. We cool. We sit down, we relax, we talk. And you have another group of people who try to size you up and I don't give who you are. I don't, it's a fine line. It's a fine line.
It's sad.
And it's a fine line. It's just like we get to a certain, I guess for certain people, when you get to a certain level of public figure, to a certain level of it, it's like, some people might not know how to act around you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's weird. And I've been around both. Mm-hmm. Right? And it just makes some room
it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
It's
just uncomfortable.
We
normal people. Just have a conversation. Let's talk.
I raised my hand, Joique, by the way. Have you ever?
I'm still talking though.
Sean just pointed at me. What do you want me to do?
You wait for your time to enter.
My question to you is this.
I was still talking. So you get to a point to where what?
Grammy Whammy.
Yeah, Grammy Whammy just shined.
Grammy Whammy's got to tell you what's up.
She just shined.
This is too much.
No.
I was just going to ask you, does it ever get to a point where somebody literally comes up, doesn't say hi, and just says, let's take a picture together? How annoying is that? Because I feel like
I hate when he always comes to me and like, let's be friends.
Never again. From this moment forward, I will never ask you for another thing again. Never again. Never again.
Get his face on him. Never would
I can't wait to work with D-Mac.
Did you see the Joique art?
Never, ever.
Have fun ending the show, guys. I'm out.
Have a great weekend, buddy.
What's the talent? Kennedy is the reason we're having success, and art is holding us back. No, real talk, man.
You know what though?
You know, though, I do give Art a hard time, and he really is a terrible person. He really is. He really is. I'm just serious.
Browns Steelers, for the record, I liked the Browns in this game until all the COVID stuff. They're without their coach. They're without who the hell else knows. I like the Steelers because of it. I feel dirty because I thought the Browns were going to beat them. Just too many moving parts working against the Browns, I think, in that one. That's the way I feel. We'll wait and see how it works out. Grammy Whammy said, excellent show, guys. If I get that from Grammy Whammy, I'm with you. No doubt about it. Kennedy, best of luck to you. Hope to see you again soon. Kennedy, in case you missed it, heading back to school. I'm not going to tell you where to go to school because I don't want you guys to come and bother her and want to take pictures with her, much like Joique was talking about. You don't need that. But seriously, safe travels back to Butler, and you always have a home here. You know that, all right?
Always.
And we'll go see a hockey game. Let's all go see a hockey game. Kennedy's a big hockey fan.
I had to see a Graves first.
What do you got going on, Art? Is there anything that you need to pimp?
I refuse to talk. I'm done.
What about Art of the Warrior? Can we talk about that? Can we give you a pimp?
We're not doing that. Look at him. Look at him shake his head. Joique, you and I are gonna have.
My name is not Jake.
I know. I got headphones on. I'm doing 50 things at once.
Hey, relax, Artemis.
Ooh. Can we end the stream? Can we be done? I think it's
all right.
fine.
We
have a good one, Artemis.
Joique, always a pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Have a good one, Sean. Have a good one, Kennedy. All right, Artemis.
Fish, always appreciate you.
Fish, what up?
We'll
Where
see
you
you
been,
guys
Fish?
later. Bye bye.
We're out. Gang, gang.